the Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar one fine day just says, I am resigning for health reasons. Prime Minister writes the shortest tweet ever, which is in our Indian lingo, honestly sounded like, okay, bye.
नहीं, I have to find out who in the PMO team wrote that bloody tweet because मतलब क्या सोच के
4
लिखा था?
OSD है, 4 में से 1 OSD ने लिखा है और क्या? 4 OSD है.
The tweet was Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar ji has served a lot of positions, including Vice President of India. He has resigned. Bye.
No, not only he has resigned. I think from what I hear, he's already been told to vacate the premises also. Chal bahar jao.
So first of all, neither I have anything to do with Mr. Dhankar or the Prime Minister or anyone. Like Kushal and I are just commenting. We're political commentators. First thing, we can obviously rule out the health reason, right? I wish Mr. Dhankar well, and I hope
He
he's
pissed off someone in the system.
healthy person, but he knows it. We know it. Everyone knows that it is not a health reason, right? It was weird. So the Vice President of India presides over the Rajya Sabha and all that, and there are numerous conspiracy theories going around about what happened. There are two very funny things that I want to think. First, the Vice President's schedule was still being released, where on 23rd he was supposed to go to Rajasthan or something, and it was being tweeted. And then a few days ago, he said he is in his office till the end of his term, unless some divine intervention takes place. Now, an intervention must have taken place. Divine, not divine, we don't know, but some intervention took place because overnight he decided to resign, even after making these statements. That's the first part. Second part, since he has resigned, Kushal very eloquently put it on Twitter, किसी को घंटा कुछ नहीं पता क्या हो रहा है दिल्ली में. And so people are speculating. There are two sets of theories. One is making him, the Vice President, into some sort of a martyr, that, oh my God, he had suddenly seen the light and he was calling Congress folks and stuff like that. And I'm like, Bhai, okay, he was evil incorporated when he was the governor of West Bengal or when he was made the Vice President. Suddenly the Congress folks are seeing virtues in him. And the other set of theory is, मैंने कहीं news में पढ़ा that he was making some demands and stuff like that. So to all the journalists propagating those, why wasn't this news before he resigned? If the Vice President was making crazy demands of jets and all that, this should have been news before he resigned also, as well as after he resigned. But it seems like the Congress side and whatever other side is playing, they are all only finding virtues or the lack of virtues in the Vice President after he resigned. And now comes the funniest part. And when he resigned, no one knew what was happening. So people were tweeting, great person, he messed up the office, great person, he messed up the office. Then 12 hours later, Prime Minister Modi's tweet comes and those tweets get flipped. Suddenly he's not a great person. So bottom line is, like Kushal said, no one knows anything. My thing is, this was going to be probably a Gyani Zail Singh, Rajiv Gandhi type situation. He probably was at odds with the government on a couple of things, and the government cannot function if the leader of the house is at odds or is trying to sort of put his personal point forward. Now, I don't know how much is true, but Sheila Bhatt's report on Rediff, and I tweeted it. So if you guys, you can go to my timeline and find it. I think that was probably the most informed on this. She talked about the Justice Verma situation, and there was a couple of other situations where he took a stand against the government. And taking a stand against the government on a policy thing is one thing, but if it hampers the functioning and hampers certain bills, then maybe somebody in the government reached out to him and said, buddy, it's time to go, we are getting a new Vice President. That is those are my 2 cents.
So I will say these things with all responsibility. That long ass tweet of mine, by the way, it was also liked by a member of parliament. I'm not good at. And luckily people don't find out now who likes somebody else's tweets on Twitter. So I'm not going to disclose which member of parliament liked that tweet of mine. But so I'm going to say this, and people are not going to like me for saying this. People from Delhi
बोल
will.
दे.
So why I say nobody knows. All right. So in this government, this current government, only the Prime Minister's office and the Home Minister's office know what's happening. I'm saying this with all seriousness. Okay. Nobody knows. Nobody knows who 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 or where or what is happening. So this is how Delhi functions. Unfortunately, as a guy who has to go to Delhi all the time because of my work when I'm in India, Delhi has 4 or 5 party groups. People hang out with each other. It is a mishmash of political party people, members of parliament, media वाले. वो एक जगह से दूसरी जगह घूमते रहते हैं, ठीक है? And then they share these grapevine stories amongst each other. I can guarantee you none of them know what's happening. It is all तू फेंक मैं फेंक इसने फेंका उसने फेंका और उसके ऊपर मसाला टॉपिंग डालने के लिए ना कोई आईबी से बंदा आएगा ऐसे मसाला टॉपिंग डालेगा, फिर कोई रॉ का बंदा होएगा वो उसमें थोड़ा सा गार्निश डालेगा, फिर कोई पुलिस इंटेलिजेंस नेटवर्क या पुलिस वाला होएगा वो उसमें थोड़ा सा प्याज काट के डालेगा, ठीक है, वो थोड़ा प्याज काट के डालेगा, सब फेंक रहे हैं. मजे की बात है, सब फेंक रहे हैं. मैं तेरे को डेड सीरियस बोल रहा हूं ये बात. सब फेंकते हैं.
So there are only 3 confirmed things we can do. India is going to get a new vice president in the next 2 months. That is for sure. One,
Yes.
Vice President Dhankar and Prime Minister Modi have certainly had some misunderstanding. Somebody said Prime Minister Modi gives a better send-off to Dream 11's player of the match or something than he gave to Vice President Jagdeep. And it is true. When people leave for Commonwealth Games or Olympics, Prime Minister Modi gives a better send-off. So I actually applaud the Prime Minister and President. Bhai, agar hai tiff, तो ठीक है ना, communicate करो ना. तो why do you have to? एक तो first of all, this bloody idiotic thing that we have about unanimous consent should go away. We all know that no election in the world in any party happens with unanimous consent. It is basically numbers का प्रदर्शन होता है और एक के हाथ पीछे से बांध दिए जाते हैं और सब बोलते हैं unanimously we decided XYZ, right? And the third thing, and the third most important thing is, any news item that you see that has come after the vice president has resigned is obviously a planted news item by whatever sources, right? And you and I, Kushal, both know that this happens. You hota hai to spread a narrative. The reality is Harivansh, I forget his last name. Harivansh, JDU ka jo hai deputy leader of the house. That's his name, right? He has done a good job being the deputy leader. He was the deputy leader last time as well. More likely than not, he could be promoted as the vice president or someone from the other. This time, for the first time, you had Ashok Gajapati Raju, the ex-civil minister, civil aviation from the first term of Narendra Modi, becoming the governor. He's from TDP. So it is quite possible that from one of the 6 states that are going to elections, Prime Minister Modi and his government might pick a new VP from those states or from one of the allies. So it's quite possible. But this whole conspiracy theory है कि भाई कोई षड्यंत्र रचा, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. Just look up Zail Singh and Rajiv Gandhi. They were at odds with each other all the time. Similarly, I think in the last 6 months something may have happened, and the government probably realized that before it got late, we tell this to Vice President Dhankar. Now the real question is,
maybe there are call recordings. Maybe.
And the funniest
thing, have you
thing,
ever thought about that? Maybe there are call recordings of the former vice president talking about things that the government did not want to.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, that's what happened with Zail Singh, right? Like he was saying something like he went from "I will sweep the floor of the house if Madam tells me to" or something. ऐसा कुछ India Today का cover था, to Rajiv Gandhi in 5 years, right? In between, the Punjab blunders and stuff happened. So it's not that the president. Here is the weird thing: there are only a few things you can do and make an impact from the president's office, like Mr. APJ Abdul Kalam showed, but as Zail Singh's term showed, there are a lot of things you can do negative, which can have long-term consequences from the office, or with the whole Hansraj Bharadwaj situation as governor in Karnataka. So you never know what was the real reason. But the fact is, there was a tiff, and this is probably the first political crisis from within. And I think the reason why इतना उछल इसीलिए रहा है,
अरे तेरा जम्मू एंड कश्मीर का जो गवर्नर था वो भी बाद में अगेंस्ट हो गया मोदी के.
हाँ करेक्ट,
तो वो
सत्यपाल मलिक,
निकाला क्यों गया? वो उसी के लिए निकाला गया था.
हाँ वही तो दे आर, द गवर्नमेंट इज होपिंग कि सत्यपाल मलिक नहीं होगा, एंड आल्सो द यू नो द बीजेपी आरएसएस rumors and all that stuff. But I personally don't think the RSS has anything to do with this. I think this is a personal Mr. Dhankar issue and his camaraderie with Modi and Shah.
See, I can tell you with some level of certainty that nobody knows. सब फेंक रहे हैं. और मुझे इरिटेट क्या होता है मालूम है कि a person who has a reasonable following like me is saying सब फेंकते हैं. उसके बाद भी लोग फेंकते रहते हैं. उसके बाद भी वो फेंकने वाले लोगों को लोग सुनते रहते हैं. मैं बोल रहा हूं तुमको, प्राइम मिनिस्टर्स ऑफिस में ऑफिसर्स ऑन स्पेशल ड्यूटी होते हैं, होम मिनिस्टर्स ऑफिस में ऑफिसर्स ऑन स्पेशल ड्यूटी होते हैं, लोग उनको जानते हैं. और मैं तुमको बोल रहा हूं, तुम अपने आप को कितनी भी बड़ी तोप समझते होगे, प्रधानमंत्री कार्यालय और गृह मंत्रालय तुम्हारे पे ग्रेड के हिसाब से और तुम्हारी औकात के हिसाब से और तुम्हारी यूटिलिटी के हिसाब से तुमको बोलेगा, जो उसको बोलना है वो तुमको बोलेगा. हर टाइम सच भी नहीं बोलेगा तुमको.
इंडिया में ओनली वन पर्सन नोज एवरीथिंग, दैट इज राजीव शुक्ला.
नहीं, he is everywhere but he doesn't know anything.
Okay, that's true, that's fair, that is fair.
He doesn't know but he's there.
He's there.
The problem is that लोग इतना फेंकते हैं और लोगों को अपनी औकात. अरे मैं तेरे को बोल रहा हूँ आज की डेट में, see this is not old time government जहां पे कैसा होता था. See the problem is Delhi is still used to the दरबार of सोनिया गांधी. उनको आज भी उसकी आदत है. तू खान मार्केट में जाएगा, तेरे को आज भी एंकर्स दिखेंगे. आज भी वो बैठे होंगे. मैं लास्ट टाइम खान मार्केट में था, सुधीर चौधरी मेरे बाजू में बैठ के खाना खा रहा था. वो तेरा वो बैठ के खाना खा रहा था. मैं किसी को मिल रहा था मेरे काम से, वो बाजू में बैठा था. तो खान मार्केट
कुशल वाज मीटिंग राजीव शुक्ला.
हाँ, मैं राजीव शुक्ला से बात कर रहा था बीसीसीआई के फ्यूचर की. वाह. सो ये है रे. अभी
अगर फेंकना ही है तो तहजीब से फेंकते हैं ना. राजीव शुक्ला.
मैं तो मेरे पॉडकास्ट से रिलेटेड किसी को मिल रहा था, मगर पॉइंट ये है कि इतना लोग फेंकते हैं ना, और ये लोगों को आदत पड़ गई है उसकी. तू समझ, देख, ह्यूमन बीइंग्स गॉसिप, दैट इज ह्यूमन टेंडेंसी, इट्स अ एवोल्यूशनरी ट्रेट.
वी आल्सो
गॉसिप करते हैं. सो होता ये है कि which is why you'll barely find me in all this small talk rubbish, and I'm kind of known. इसके लिए मेरे को कोई कुछ बोलता ही नहीं है, क्योंकि I just turn, I just zone out.
There are two sets of people on Twitter right now. One posting reactions of Sayyara from theaters, and the other posting about the
Sayyara
latest.
क्या है? I'm dead serious. Sayyara क्या है?
अरे भाई, एक मूवी है, ढंग की मूवी, again inspired or quote unquote inspired, or parts of it are inspired by some South Korean movie. People are finally देखो, इंडिया में one thing I've realized, it doesn't have to be good or bad. If people realize there is a trend कि this will get me hits, people start doing it and tapping into the Indian social media reach. राइट. सो लोगों ने सोचा कि सैयारा हिट हो रही है तो हम रिएक्शंस देते हैं, तो हिट्स मिलेंगे. मतलब थोड़े बहुत अच्छे थे रिएक्शंस. देन वी वेंट इनटू स्ट्रेट, वो समाजवादी पार्टी का लीडर नहीं था, महात्मा गांधी के पुतले को देख के हग करिए, बापू तुम कहाँ गए बापू. सो equivalent of that was happening in theaters of Sayyara. बापू कहाँ गए type of thing. In my opinion, that is exactly what is happening. And someone told me a very funny thing. This is the fueled free data universe of India, where everybody has a smartphone, everybody wants to get viral, and so everybody does this. But the amount of stupidity I've seen on Indian social media this time, एक तो ये था, दूसरा वो office में CEO, there was a Gora CEO that showed up and the whole office started dancing like we were some sort of a dance academy inside the office. We've all been to Indian corporate offices. यार ऐसे कोई dance नहीं
कोई
करता.
डांस नहीं करता, कोई डांस नहीं करता.
What the hell? But again, why? Because everybody wants to get viral. So everybody started dancing. And then third, you see this hyper reaction of the vice president. But ultimately, वो सैयारा को देख के रोने वाले are just like those Samajwadi Party workers who were crying, hugging the putla of Gandhi ji. बापू कहाँ गए? बापू कहाँ गए?
Back to the vice president. The Congress was praising the vice president. The same Congress was mocking him outside the inside the parliament, outside the house, at the steps. यहाँ पे कोई यार इंडियन, और मैं नहीं बोल रहा कोई बीजेपी बड़े उसूलों वाली पार्टी है, मतलब ये सारे यार ये कैसे लोग हैं यार, मतलब मेरे को समझ में नहीं आता ये लोग सोते कैसे हैं, सोते कैसे हैं ये लोग, इतने बेशरम है ये लोग, इनको कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता, ये मुस्टंडे इतने बेशरम है, इतने बेशरम है.
One thing I'm going to tell the chat, if you have any super chats about the vice president resigning, send them now, because तो फिर end में हम लोग सिर्फ बिहार वाली लेंगे. तो I haven't talked to Kushal about this, but you think vice president का पहले super chats लेके खत्म कर देते, so then we can move on to Bihar?
नहीं वो तो बीच बीच में घुसते रहेंगे, मगर
ठीक है. हाँ.
How and you know what, like, okay, I respect constitutional positions and all that, but seriously, I just want to say this, like, what bothers me is that this is the monsoon session of parliament, okay?
Correct.
17 bills are up for discussion.
Correct.
17. The national sports bill was just
tabled
on the table today. Aaj. We have the coastal shipping bill, Indian ports bill, income tax bill, the carriage of goods by sea bill, the bills of lading bill, the merchant shipping bill, and many others. Jan Vishwas amendment of provisions bill. Just look at the time. Look at the time the Indian media has spent. Okay, can anybody show me one discussion, one panel discussion on one bill that is coming up? One.
नहीं होगा. अरे भाई जो पैनल डिस्कशंस मॉडरेट कर रहा है उनको भी तो पता होना चाहिए. I guarantee you, if you ask these anchors without a thing, and I'm not generalizing all anchors, but at least 5 I know, if you of the prime.
Sorry, anchors are no longer journalists. Anchors are actors.
Actors, exactly.
Most of them are. Not the old school ones. The old school ones were real journalists. आजकल जो एंकर बन रहे हैं वो लोग तो एक्टिंग कर रहे हैं यार.
I'll tell you another reason, Kushal. This parliament session, there was supposed to be a discussion on Operation Sindoor, right? Now I think it's well documented that we did lose 1 or 2 jets. या पता नहीं, we don't know the number, but there were some losses.
अरे we lost 5,000 jets.
No. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it is very important that the government and the opposition had a debate and a joint statement came and was tabled in the parliament that this is the official Indian narrative. So this is what happened. I do not want personally, as someone who, reads news and, has, obviously you and I both have our biases, but we don't want that Trump ka ek statement aaya, fir Marco Rubio has one statement, Shahbaz Sharif has one statement, and the government of India doesn't have one cohesive statement. And I think, forget government of India, the parliament of India probably should have voted on a unanimous statement, set it out, and that would have been our official narrative. वो डिबेट भी तो होना है ऑपरेशन सिंदूर पे. Nothing's happening.
And I'm glad the government has kept like a day and a half or two.
25 hours is what I've read somewhere.
Yeah. Okay, so that is effectively 2 days of parliament.
I'm saying that should have been prelude to that. What are the questions you want to ask? If you want a panel discussion, you have political voices from the Rajya Sabha in a panel discussion.
And I think the government should be questioned on Operation Sindoor. Yes. There are many important questions that need to be answered, and the people of India deserve answers to those questions. This is a freaking democracy, okay? But this comment, I want to take on the prime. I think from past experience, the opposition will uchalo the vice president issue and the PM will get his bills passed. Poonam, ask yourself as an honorable citizen of India, do you think it is fair that 70... I had posted this last time, how many bills get passed in India without discussion in parliament? ये भी मैं tweet कर चुका हूं. इसका पूरा data available है. every year, how many bills are discussed in the parliament and how many are just passed? ये क्या डेमोक्रेसी है हम लोग? और ये हर टाइम हो रहा है, कांग्रेस में
And
होता था, बीजेपी में हो रहा है, ये सब में हो रहा है, कोई बिल ही
yeah,
नहीं डिस्कस होता इस देश में.
हाँ ये सब नहीं. And I'll tell you, okay, चलो chat, I'll ask you a question, Kushal. I'm going to take 30
नहीं
seconds
नहीं,
of the time.
है
And
और दो है.
with
डू यू थिंक शशि थरूर विल बी मेयर वाइस प्रेसिडेंट? और एक बोल रहा है उसको बना भी दो.
केरला में वोट्स आएंगे और कांग्रेस की जलेगी. That was the message. So okay, Shashi Tharoor guy, I don't know. I read personally on 3 chatters that he is one of the front runners. Now this could be a decoy missile. Ki Congress, because Congress is making the statements that they are for Jagdeep Dhankar. Why don't we say that Shashi Tharoor is now our front runner and stuff? I don't think. I don't think he resigned because about the rumors of his impeachment. The rumors of his impeachment came after he resigned. So if there were truly the rumors of him being impeached, वो पहले आते हैं, right?
Everything is post facto.
Everything. Now the judge could be a reason, right? But from what I read, I thought I saw a couple of BJP folks as well in the supporting the impeachment motion against the judge. So I'm not so sure if that was. See, vice presidents and presidents don't resign on one issue. One issue becomes like the last nail in the coffin, right? But there are multiple issues. It has to be multiple issues, right? And if you know Modi and Shah, it's not one issue here. Unless and until you did a big blunder, then it's a whole different issue. I'm going to ask the chat a question, right? Because the media is wanting to believe that vice president is like the second most important post in that. We all know that K.R. Narayan, and do not Google this, okay? K.R. Narayan was the Prime Minister of India in the late 90s to the early 2000s, before Mr. Kalam took over in 2002. Who was the Vice President of India when K.R. Narayan was the President? You have 30 seconds to respond. Do not Google. ईमानदारी से जवाब दो अगर आपको याद है जब K.R. Narayan President था तो. And I'm going to give you that answer, and the answer will shock everyone. Because the fact is, no one freaking knows. 20 years from now, 25 years from now, the vice president's role is to ensure the functioning. It's like the speaker of the house in the Lok Sabha. You could easily relabel the vice president of India as the speaker of the house in the Rajya Sabha and reduce half this burden. But we somehow love colonial thing. Okay, no one has a clue. I'm going to tell you. It was Krishan Kant. Look up who Krishan Kant was. And I remember Vinod Sharma, he's a very pro-Congress journalist, right? From Hindustan Times, he used to say this, that if Krishan Kant can become the vice president of India, anyone can become the vice president of India. This is his statement from a debate. I don't know kitne saal pehle tha. But तो मतलब this is for nerds like us who are on the podcast जो पढ़ते रहते हैं और political history में घुसे हुए होते हैं, but no one freaking knows who Krishan Kant was.
How many people know ये language war होती है कि हरियाणा में Telugu was the state one of the state languages? How many?
Yeah, see.
It was done in the 1950s and 60s.
Correct.
As a north-south integration thing by the then Chief Minister of Haryana. कितने लोगों को मालूम होती है चीजें? अरे यार ये मतलब
one funny thing though, before saying bye bye to Mr. Dhankar, Narendra Modi managed to wish Ajit Pawar a very happy birthday. So people were like Ajit Dada यहाँ भी आगे निकल गए because vice या deputy आ गए तो अजीत दादा का नाम यहाँ पे भी पहले ही आता.
Do you this resignation carry any significance in the greater scheme of BJP? No, किसी को कुछ नहीं मालूम, सब फेंक रहे हैं. मैं बोल रहा हूँ किसी को कुछ नहीं मालूम है. And also do a series on these bills and make it
that's a good idea. That's a good idea.
I will be covering the bills on this podcast. I can assure you that much.
We have to upload a good suggestion when it comes, and that's a good one.
No, believe me, I was already planning a series next week on these bills that are up for debate in the monsoon session of Parliament, because I honestly am sick and tired of this entire country's discourse. ये लोग मतलब जो चीज यूजलेस है उसके ऊपर चर्चा करते हैं, जो चीज यूजलेस है उसके ऊपर चर्चा करते हैं, और कुछ है ही नहीं इस देश में. वाइस प्रेसिडेंट क्यों रिजाइन किया? उसने पॉटी गलत तरीके से की, उसने ना इसको ये मैसेज किया था, उसने ना उसको ये मैसेज किया था, उसने ना उसके साथ ये किया था. अबे तुमको कुछ नहीं मालूम.
So
फेंकना
there
बंद
are
करो साले, सब फेकुड़ी है। और मालूम जर्नलिस्ट उससे भी बड़े फेकुड़ी है। वो क्या करते हैं मालूम है, पहले 4 एमपी है ना, वो अपनी पार्टी करते हैं, वो दिल्ली के वो एमपी बंगलों के अंदर। मैं तेरे को बता रहा हूँ, मुझे ये भी मालूम है कौन सा एमपी कौन सी पार्टी में जाता है, ये भी मालूम है मेरे को। फिर है ना वो वाली पार्टी करते हैं। उसके बाद वो पार्टी से लेयर 2 में आते हैं, जो थोड़े सीनियर कार्यकर्ता और ये वाले जो जर्नलिस्ट टाइप होते हैं। फिर वो लोग पार्टी करते हैं, और वो यहाँ पे है ना नई गॉसिप आती है। फिर ये जर्नलिस्ट होता है ना, वो परब्रह्मण होता है, वो हर जगह घूमता रहता है, हर पार्टी में जर्नलिस्ट जाता है। फिर वो यहाँ की पार्टी का फेक न्यूज ये पार्टी में फेक न्यूज डालता है। फिर वो फेक न्यूज के ऊपर और फेक न्यूज चढ़ता है। फिर वो इतना सारा फेक न्यूज होता है कि आदमी वही खाता रहता है पूरा टाइम दिल्ली में, इतना फेंकते हैं।
बहुत बहुत
शर्म करो, पाकिस्तानी बनी, खुदा का खाफ करे। साले इतना फेंकते हैं यार लोग दिल्ली में यार, कितना फेंकते हैं।
no we'll end the vice president discussion with something I read. किसी पाकिस्तानी ने बोल दिया कि India was so embarrassed after Operation Sindoor that the vice president resigned. Like यार ये नया था गुरु, मतलब not one person gave the credit to Pakistan, और पाकिस्तान से मैं हूँ मुझे क्रेडिट दे दो। So पाकिस्तानी जर्नलिस्ट
मोदी का मैसेज सब, मोदी ने एक कोल्ड ट्वीट किया, ओके बाय, दैट्स इट, ओके बाय। मोदी का बेस्ट था, ओके बाय।
No, though the best was, he has been for a lot of positions, including the vice president of India. मतलब उसका सारा करियर, गवर्नर, लॉयर, सब कुछ।
Journalist has to be everywhere. Rajiv Shukla was a journalist.
Yes, but he was. No, and Rajiv Shukla was, and that is why that podcast that he did with Samdesh was so entertaining. Actually, Rajiv Shukla को कोई टक्कर का मिले ना, तो he has a lot of stories to share. But कोई टक्कर का मिले ना।
राजीव शुक्ला घाट घाट का पानी पिया हुआ आदमी है,
बिल्कुल,
और घाट घाट का समोसा खाया हुआ आदमी है।
And मतलब the funniest was Mike Brearley की बीवी and Mike Brearley's wife and some English cricketer were talking, and the Sky Sports camera was there. 5 minutes later it pans, Rajiv Shukla was there also. I'm like, Rajiv Shukla is not only here, there, everywhere. He's on every broadcaster's feed. Sony Live, Star Sports, Sky Sports, सब में है. But he's amazing. So, what a time to be around.
राजीव शुक्ला। अच्छा, ये एक क्वेश्चन ले लेते हैं। Usually these bills are often bloated with nonsense, with the real stuff is written ambiguously. Has there been any improvement in BJP era or not? It's a mixed bag. Like some bills are really well drafted under this government. But listen, the reason why you don't have well drafted bills is because most of the bills are not going in the standing committee when they should. And the ones that should not go into the standing committee. You barely have any debates on the bills, boss.
Correct.
You don't have debates on the bills.
So I think what has happened is the Prime Minister's ability for that element of surprise worked for Article 370, right? But that element of surprise maybe that won't work in all the bills. And I think they are now, sort of debating internally within the NDA and coming to power, but with the bills. But a lot of bills were not being debated enough before they were being tabled. I'm trying to give a serious response. वो खुद पाना लेके गए थे और भावना लेके उन्होंने धरती खिसकाई थी और F-35 को रिपेयर कर दिया।